Hi guys, thanks for joining me today on episode 3 of Crafting Therapy. I hope you're all staying safe out there and practicing social distancing as much as possible. What we're going to make tonight is a cute pair of little Dollar Tree store slippers. And so I have these Dollar Tree store slippers. If you have a pair, great. Maybe you have a pair of slippers in your closet that are fleece or 100% polyester that this would work on. Or maybe you want to use heat transfer vinyl instead of infusible ink. And if you don't have the supplies you need, I hope that you just enjoy watching this video for now until you can get out and get some supplies. I'm going to use my Cricut Maker, I'll use my mini Easy Press, and I'll use some infusible ink as well as all the supplies that you need to go along with those. Before I get started, I wanted to just invite you, if this is your first time to join me, please consider subscribing. If you find anything in the video helpful or inspiring, or you just enjoy watching it, please give me a thumbs up. I truly appreciate those. And then if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, leave them in the comments section. Now, let's get crafting. I've measured the area of the shoe that I want to put my design on, and it's 3 inches wide by 3.5 inches tall. I want to limit my design to that size, so I'm going to go ahead and put a square in here. I want to go ahead and turn it white. Actually, I'll turn it pink for the color of my shoes. I want it to be, I'm going to have to unlock the shape so that I can change the height and the width independently. So I want it no more than 3 inches wide and no more than 3.5 inches tall. Okay, so let me go ahead and make this a little larger. Well, that didn't work so well. Let me go back to the regular size. Okay, so for my text, I think I'm going to do 2 different fonts for this. And it's going to be pretty small, so I don't want it to have too much detail. I'll go to System Fonts, so I'm not paying for it. And I want the fonts to be decently thick. Let's see how wild coffee gets if I use Autumn in November. Well, that's not too bad, but I don't like how little the blank spots are in that, so I'm going to keep looking. Let's try Amelia. Okay, I like that. It's not too wild and fancy. You can easily read it. So this time I am going to go ahead and make the view larger because I want to really see these when I start moving the letters together. I have the word coffee selected, so you could either ungroup them, move them one by one, but I like to start by going to letter space and click the down arrow. It starts moving the letters together. And actually that looks pretty good without any additional work. I'm going to go ahead and change that kind of a purple color since that's the color I will be using. It's not the exact color, but it'll be good enough. Now this design is it's about 2 inches wide. So I'm going to go ahead and just drag it this way until I get to about 3 inches wide. That's close enough. Now I have to weld this, or let me show you what it'd look like when you make it. If you click on the coffee one, it's hard for you to see. Let me make this larger. You would get all these cut lines, And so it wouldn't just be one continuous piece of infusible ink, and we don't want that. So let's go back. We are going to select coffee, and we're going to click weld. Now that made it where there's no cut lines in between. So let's put that right here. And then I feel like my word please should be in all caps, kind of like it's an exclamation of please give me my coffee. So let's type please in all caps and then select a different font. Let's see what this would look like. Well, that's cute, and I want it to be really plain since this has some fanciness to it, but let me look at another one. Let's see what that would look like. And really, maybe I need an exclamation mark. Let's unlock it and just make it narrower and see how that looks. I want to go ahead and change it to the same color that I'll be using for the coffee word. Okay, I think that looks fine. Let me go ahead and just get rid of this square or rectangle. Now I want to select both shapes, click Align, and I want to center horizontally so they're right on top of each other the way they need to be, centered on top of each other. And that moved the please over just a little bit. The other thing is, if I were to make this now, well, it must be two different colors. Let me go back. It is two different colors. Okay, let's select the right color. It must be this one. Okay, now they're the same color, but if I were to click Make It, see, it just puts them across the top so you don't waste extra paper. So to make them print this way, so I don't have to really figure out where each one goes, you have to click Attach. So now when I click Make It, it looks just like I want it to. However, with Infusible ink, you do have to mirror your design. So I'll click Mirror, click Continue, I'm using the Cricut brand Infusible ink transfer sheet, so I'll click on that. It tells me here, make sure your mirror is on, and when you place your material on the cutting mat, that you have the ink side up, and I'll show you that. Default pressure is plenty, with my machine at least, and I need to have my fine point blade in, which I already do, and so it's ready for me to keep working. I have my supplies all gathered, and I want to just talk about them for a minute. This is my pair of slippers that I got at the Dollar Tree store. Now, nowhere on them do they say that they're 100% polyester, and it wasn't on the tag at all. That's what the tag looks like. But I think fleece usually is 100% polyester. Don't take my word on that on everything, and we are going to see if it works on these. Then I have my Infusible ink. I've already taken it out, and I wanted to show you. It is so interesting how this works. Here's my 4 colors, and they supposedly look like these 4 colors. They really do once you get them adhered to something or infused in something, but coming out of the sheet, but coming out of the box, they really don't look like that. And so what I did is I put a little sample of each one. You can see right here, I cut the corner off, and I put a little sample of each one right here just so I could make sure. And if you compare those, they're not in the right order. The purple's up there, then the lighter pink, which is this, is right here, brighter pink, and then the very purpley, the dark. And they're going to look a little bit different because this is a light purple. They'll look a little different on pink, and they look a little bit different on white, but they're very close. And then I have my brayer, my scissors, and I'm going to use this. Isn't this a beautiful piece of wood? I'm going to use this to stick down into the shoe under my infusible ink, because I tried this project before and I melted this right here. So it's important that it is held up off of this lining going around the shoe. Very, very important. I learned the hard way. So I'll get this out of the way and I'll put my infusible ink down on my mat. This mat originally was a strong grip mat, but as it's lost a lot of its stickiness, I just changed it to be a standard grip mat. So that's why that says standard. Also, when I was in the computer making the design, I forgot to duplicate it. So since then, I've duplicated it and I've moved it to this corner because that's what works out best for my infusible ink. So I'll have one cut here and one cut about right there. Now this wants to curl on you because you keep it in the box all curled up in a black piece of plastic that keeps all light off of it. So you really need to get this stuck down to your mat. Okay, we're ready to go. Let's see this thing do its magic. Okay, so you can see that cut. It comes through very easily. I remove my mat from whatever I'm cutting on. And then with this infusible ink, it can scratch, so I like to have something under it while I'm removing it. To keep from wasting the material, I'm going to cut fairly tight around it. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut my two designs apart. Now, I think infusible ink is something you either love to weed or you hate to weed, and I actually like it. What you do is you just kind of bend your infusible ink, and when something pops up that is getting weeded out that you can grab, just grab it, tear it to the corner or to the side, and you can just start pulling it off. And then the same thing to get the insides out. If you just kind of hold your infusible ink down and bend up, what you want to come loose will slightly lift off the transfer tape, and you just pull it off with your fingernail. Now I see I lost my exclamation mark, so I'll need to find that. And that's it right there. Okay, I just about missed the center of the pea. All right, that's it. So I'll go ahead and weed the other one. Okay, so let me go ahead and get my shoe ready, my slipper ready. I'm going to preheat it in a minute, but before I do, I just want to put my design on and see where it fits well, because my wood only goes to here. So I need to have my design this side of where the wood ends so that I can have some good pressure against it. And I think that will be fine. So I'm just going to preheat this for a little bit. And actually you have to let it cool all the way off. You don't want to set your infusible ink on it and have it start infusing before you get it situated to where you want it. And so I think you're actually just kind of taking the moisture or any moisture that might be in the fabric out. There's humidity in the air, and so I believe that you are just removing that moisture from your material. The other thing is that fleece kind of has a nap to it. You can move it different ways, and I want to have it all going the same way. Like when I press this way, you may not be able to tell, but it stands up quite a bit. I don't want that. I think it's going to look better if it's laying down fairly flat. So I'm going to go ahead and get it the way I want it. Okay, this one's cool enough, so I'm going to go ahead and work on it. I want to kind of pull it down so I see where the center is. I'm just going to kind of place this up here to protect this part of my shoe. And then the interactive guide said to do on high with a little mini for 75 seconds. So I'm just going to count to myself, and I probably will go more like 50 seconds. I'll let you know what I do in the end, and then I'll reveal it. I'm going to go ahead and let that sit for a while. Let it cool off. You're supposed to wait until it cools to remove your transfer sheet. Okay, I think that's long enough. I'm going to go ahead and peel this off, see what I get. Okay, so it looked like a mess at first, but then when you kind of push your fibers back down there where they were, it looks fine. You can see the indentation of the transfer sheet, but I think if I just rub on that for a while, I think that's going to wear out eventually. Get my fibers pressed back down the way I had them, and there you go. Again, I can see it right there. But for $1 pair of shoes and a little bit of infusible ink, that's really cute. I will smile every morning when I look down at them. I'll go ahead and do this second shoe, and then I will reveal them at the end. Now this time I'm going to cut closer around it. Now see how on this one, the only part that had a decent amount of ink left was the top of the C, so I'm going to do a little bit of extra time on the top of this C. Okay, so on this one I did 45 seconds on the top, 45 seconds on the bottom, and then I did another 10 seconds or so on the upper part of the C. Okay, now this time I let the shoe completely cool off. I thought maybe the transfer tape would be less tacky when it's cool. So we'll see if it pulls off the same way or if it releases a little easier. And it's still pretty tacky. So I don't really think waiting longer causes the transfer tape to be more or less sticky. So there's my second shoe. Now what I would say is cutting right around it, I think you see less of a difference in the fleece that's near it versus out there. I don't know, maybe that's just my imagination, but I can see a square or rectangle around that, and I don't see it nearly as much on this one. So you might want to cut more closely around your design. Here is the shoe that I was talking about earlier that I melted. All I was doing was doing my preheat or getting the moisture out, and I put my easy press, it was a bigger easy press, down on the shoe, and that's what happened. So then I decided it was best to move to the mini and to really build up under your design. Thanks so much for joining me today. I hope you stay safe. Bye-bye.